When looking for your favorite tools and supplies for your next flooring job, we have the absolute best place to shop online. Head on over to shagtools.com, the pro's choice for everything from cutters, adhesives, knee pads, shower systems, and more. Shag Tools carries all the premium brands you know and trust. In stock with fast shipping to either you or your job site. And right now, our new customers are going to receive 10% off their initial purchase using the code HUDDLE10. That's right, HUDDLE10 at shagtools.com.
Good afternoon and welcome. We are thrilled to be here on The Huddle. I am Whitney Legate. I have the honor of serving on our Wi-Fi board and overseeing the Professional Development Committee that brings you power hours like we're here for today. First, I want to say thank you to our esteemed panelists who have joined us for today's conversation. Thank you, ladies, so much for making time today. And a big thank you to the Huddle Group for having us and hosting our first live power hour. So we are thrilled. Thank you so much. Wi-Fi is an awesome organization. We're so glad to see so many faces here today and hopefully lots of people joining us online. We have some wonderful programs like you're experiencing today. We do monthly power hours with different topics and guests. We also have a 6-month mentor program that we run twice a year. I'll do a quick plug that closes on February the 13th. So if you're interested or know somebody that's interested, we'd love for you to sign up on Women in Flooring. You can also follow us on social to learn more about some of our programs. One of our favorites is our scholarship program. We gave more than $30,000 away to women in the flooring industry last year. We'd love to do more of that. So please pass the word. Scholarship applications close on February the 27th. I'm going to turn it over and let the huddle get started. Thank you.
All right, welcome everybody. My name is Paul Stewart. I'm the host of The Huddle. We are honored to partner with Wi-Fi today to bring you Power Hour Live. Today's topic is confidence as a strategy. So the esteemed panelists are going to talk about some topics that probably hit home with all of us when it comes to doing meetings, having important interactions with other people, but from the women's perspective and how we can all build confidence. So gentlemen, pull out your pins because you can learn something from these ladies. Everybody else, listen up. Daniel is one of our co-hosts. He's back here kind of, taking care of our tech. Usually that's Ashlyn, but Daniel's holding the fort down there. Jose's our other co-host on The Huddle. Daniel, why don't you say a little bit? You got a mic over there? You can kind of introduce yourself.
Hi, guys. Daniel Gonzalez, one of the co-hosts. We're out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and happy to be out here and helping you guys out. I mean, this is definitely an honor, so we appreciate the invitation.
Jose
Gonzalez, brother to that guy over there that was just talking. And yeah, thank you for the invite. We really appreciate the opportunity, and we look forward to creating a space where we can have an open conversation, and hopefully it resonates with some of you guys. Bring some nuggets home tonight.
And our panelists, Sarah Zacharias. Did I nail it? All right. Kayla Simmons and Jennifer Zimmerman, right? All right, good deal. So we're going to start this off pretty easy, but probably the foundational question, something simple, but what is confidence? Like, what is it to have true confidence? And I'm going to have you start.
Well, I lost all of my confidence when I stepped up on stage and the lights were bright and I was like, oh. But the reality is, like, this is really surreal. I've never been called an esteemed person this many times in such a short period of time, but it's really helping boost my confidence a little bit being up here. When I think of confidence, I think of just, it breaks it into two parts for me. And the first thing I think as women, we all think about, right? When I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror, how am I looking? How am I feeling, right? It's going to determine that. And I don't want to talk about that today because as I've gotten older, I've just gotten over it. I don't care anymore. when I wake up in the morning and I get ready for me. I wear tennis shoes, I wear jeans, I love a great vest. And so one of the things I've learned about confidence is that I have to stop dressing and preparing for other people. And I have to do what makes me feel good in the morning, because if I feel good, then I feel like I can put my best foot forward in any of the work that I'm doing. I think the second thing is that confidence has to come from within. And so you have to like yourself. There is, in my opinion, no way that you can be really confident in what you do every single day if you just don't really feel good about yourself and who you are. I had a lot of years to learn to like myself, regardless of what people say, because I grew up with 7 brothers, and our love language was sarcasm and jokes. And so if I would have taken a lot of that to heart, it might have been hard to be a really confident person, but the truth is, obviously it was done in love. But I like myself. So it's easy to be confident when you like yourself. And I'm not just saying that because, I think I'm awesome, but thankfully I have a great group of friends. I think if you don't have a great group of friends, go out and find them. They're probably in this room. Women friends are the best people to have in your corner. They will build you up. They will say nice things about you. And they will tell you the truth, which is what we all need. I've got a great company that supports me in what I do, which helps build my confidence. I think if I worked for some place that I just sort of did my thing and nobody really checked in or said, atta girl, I probably wouldn't like myself or feel as good about myself. And even though my family is a little hard on me, we really do love each other. It's just that sarcasm is our love language, of course. So for me, it starts with just feeling good about yourself, and whatever it takes for you to feel good about yourself, do it. Don't care. Don't think about what other people are thinking about you. You just do it for you.
Nice. Anyone else want to chime in?
I don't really know how to follow that. Well done. No. Just to add to it, though, I think from a professional perspective, education and preparedness are very key, to being able to be confident around other people when we're talking industry. Knowledge is power. And if I had to add, I wholeheartedly agree. Absolutely, you have to be confident in yourself, and you have to do that for yourself. But when it comes to dealing with other people, read the room and make sure that you're prepared for whatever it is that you're undertaking. So
Definitely. Is this on? No.
Oh.
Here.
Nope, just push it up.
Push it up. Okay, there we go. That's on. All right. And confidence is wearing a sparkly jacket in Vegas. I'm like, where else can I wear a sparkly jacket but Vegas? Yeah, no, I totally agree with everything you were saying. And really, knowledge and being prepared and just knowing what you're going into. You can never be over prepared and out educating yourself in what you're talking about, because then you become powerful and you become confident. And confidence and competence, sometimes they go together, but really you have to be competent too. So they're not exactly the same thing. So know what you're talking about, know your industry, do your preparations, engage and be curious, and you will become confident.
So I think the trick with confidence is you've got confidence and you've got arrogance. And the line between the two can be really, really thin, right? I mean, I just got up here and told everyone I like myself. I do, but that could come across as arrogant, right? And so I think all the time about reading the room, right? Maybe I'm out and I think I'm being confident, but maybe I'm talking too much, or I'm sharing the wrong information, or so I do definitely try to read the room and find that line between, okay, am I coming across as confident, or am I just coming across as a little arrogant? And the truth is, I don't think I've got that completely figured out. So maybe somebody else does, because I'm not really good at reading the lines sometimes,
Yeah.
Or sometimes you read it too late. There you go. Well, I think sometimes stepping back and just listening and being quiet, or asking questions, or even admitting you don't know something, and or owning a mistake also is confidence. And that's how you can step back if you feel like you're being a little arrogant, and you can step back and say, wait a second, what do you think? Or even asking other people questions. And that really helps with drawing down that line and coming below it. So
Yeah, so I heard a few things. I'm just going to chime in for a quick second. Like overall confidence is, towards the day, and then situational confidence when you're going into an important meeting or you're coming up on stage in front of 100 people and talking about confidence. It's like being prepared is your superpower in the situational confidence arena. All right, well, let's move the conversation and keep it going towards the ultimate goal of how do you apply this in your daily lives. So how do you build confidence? If you are not confident, how do you build that? Like you may have been nervous to get up here, or nervous to at a certain meeting. How do you build the confidence that you need in those situations?
So for me, I think a big part of it is reminding myself that it's okay to fail, and that in failure, it's an opportunity to learn, and it's an opportunity to build confidence ultimately. So I think that's the first thing. Know that you're going to survive whatever it is. If I drop the mic right now, you know what I mean? Like, we would be okay. We would still be able to move forward. So I do think it's just kind of harnessing that energy, being mindful of the fact that it's okay to feel, you know what I mean, a little bit of chaos. But I do think that, having confidence gives you the ability to direct that, right? So
Yeah, definitely preparation. I mean, preparation in situations, meetings, somewhere where you're giving a presentation, preparation is key, right? You have to prepare, know the topic, understand what you're going to talk about. Um, but then not maybe over prepare, which we talked about earlier. It's really easy to over prepare and memorize everything. And you go in and you're meeting with a new business and you're like, I know all these things about you because I read everything on your website. And the truth is, obviously, they want to tell you about their business. And so it's certainly a fine line, but preparing is key. But on the other side, and you mentioned this, is it is okay to not know. The worst thing you can do, and I think this is a trap a lot of us fall into, is if you get asked a question and you think you kind of know or you're almost certain and you just run with it. Like, here is the answer, and you just go with it even though you're not quite sure. There is nothing wrong with saying, I'm not quite sure. I do know somebody who does know, and I will get that answer and I will get right back to you. It's a way, way safer. And it doesn't make you look any less confident when you need to ask for help. I think that's fine.
I think you found the line. Like that's the line. Apparently, between confidence and arrogance, a lot of times is being okay with saying, I don't know, but I do know someone who probably does.
And I think a little humility goes a long way, because it makes you look real when you can step back and say, "Look, I don't know," or we kind of messed up here, or we should have done something different. That really goes a long way with your audience and who you're talking to. So I would say use humility to boost your confidence, actually.
So I just grabbed the microphone because I haven't said anything yet, so I feel left out. But
Let's build that confidence.
yeah, I got to build that confidence. I need to justify why I'm up here. But the difference between personal and business, how does that work out? Does personal translate to business? Business translate to personal? And how would you say that you apply that type of confidence?
I think if you can develop a personal relationship and be very personal, it gives you and it boosts the confidence. So I think that in business, And a lot of in our industry, it's all about relationships. We're a very, very relationship driven industry. And I mean, think about coming to surfaces. It's all seeing the people you know and talking to people. And I think the line is blurred in our industry between personal and business because the business is built on the relationships. So having the personal confidence and does translate to business. And you need to know when to turn on the business aspect of it as well. But again, that over preparedness and knowing your audience and knowing the business and knowing your facts really, really helps with that.
I think that's a really interesting question. So, has anyone taken a personality assessment, like a DISC or a PI or something like that? Right. I think most of us probably have. For me, I, I when they measured it, they're like, "Hey, this is how you are at home. This is how you are at business, and like here are the two combined." For me, I am the exact same way at business and at home. My dots line up all the exact same way, and so I walk through the door at home the same way I walk through the door in business, except for, at home usually I'm telling somebody to pick up their shoes, right? So for me, thankfully, it's very natural at work or at home because I don't have to try to change. Now, if you're in a role that's a little different, like for work, and you have to adapt, that I think is where a lot of that preparation comes in. Just because it's not your natural self. Like, for example, if you put me in finance, that is not going to be natural to me at all. I would definitely have to prepare. I would have to study, but I think I could get confident in it because of that. And so for those of you who maybe, if you look at your assessments and you're different, to be very honest, that could signal maybe a career change for you. Maybe you go, you know what? This is not me and the work that I'm in. I'm a really outgoing person and I am sitting here, in finance. And so maybe it's time for me to find something else. And you might find you're more confident every day in what you do.
Brings up an interesting segues right into the next. How do we do that? Right into the next topic. So does fake it till you make it? This concept, like you've heard dress the part, do these things to kind of, act as though you are. And there's something else to that, like then you shall become or something. Plato said that. Just kidding. Does it work? Is there a such thing as fake it till you make it? And does that actually work? Is there a value to that concept?
I don't like that phrase at all. So I'm going to say no, because you can tell when you're faking it. I mean, you can tell you're being somebody, you're pretending, you're being somebody you're not. I don't think that. I mean, I think in your career, you have to have courage, and maybe there's a little bit to it, but I don't think so. And it's exhausting, and people see it. And so I think what you need to do is, what I think about, and I am a big subscriber in that I love the Atomic Habits book with James Clear, and it's all around building an identity and systems. And so if you, instead of faking it, you are that person and you become and you say what you want to be and you become that identity. And then you build the systems and the habits around it. So if you want to become a confident person, you are a confident person, and then you show up prepared, you ask questions, you get feedback, you listen to others. So I think that there's something, I don't like the fake it till you make it. I think you need to decide that you are going to be a confident and use confidence as your strategy and be confident, and then you build to it. And I think that's really, and be curious, because the more curious you are, the more intellectually curious you are, you will get much farther ahead and you will build your confidence by actually becoming that and not pretending. So I don't like the fake it till you make it saying, or act as, I've heard other people say, act as if.
Yeah.
No, I think you need to decide that's who you are and then build to be that person. So.
Both professionally and business.
Yes, both in professionally and in business.
So routines, knowing
Yeah.
your stuff.
Know your stuff. yeah, know your data, know your industry, know your customer, know your market. I mean, you will be confident if you are the one in the room that knows all of that information. So I really think it's more around building to be that person rather than faking it. So I don't like the fake it till you make it phrase. So
I have to agree with that. I think that confidence is something that has to be genuine. It has to come from the right energy and the right place in order for it to work. And I do think that it's something that is an investment, right? Like it's not, you can be maybe a little bit more naturally confident of a person, but it does take work and effort to use it as a strategy and to be powerful, in that space. So I agree, the fake it till you make it. None of us like those people anyway. Let's be real. Like right?
So when I started with my company that I'm with right now, so I've been with my company for 10 years. And before that, I was in banking. I had 13 years, particularly in commercial banking. And I felt really, really good about that. I knew my stuff. I knew the customers. I mean, that's like a lifetime in a career these days when people spend, that long. And I switched and I came into the flooring industry. And I was working with people who were there like 20 years, 30 years. We had a guy who celebrated his 40th work anniversary while I was there, right? I mean, this industry is awesome because of the longevity and the careers. If I had walked in on day one or even year one and been like, I know this stuff, you guys, I read the lingo, I read the literature, like I know it, they would have eaten me alive. I mean, I still basically get called the rookie because, I've only been doing this 10 years. But I think you certainly can't fake it. But I love what you said, be curious. Like I want to get that on a shirt, like hashtag. Oh, we're not doing hashtags anymore in
Maybe.
2026. Are they gone? Are hashtags gone? Any yeah. So be curious. And so for me, it was very eye-opening to come into a new company and not know anything and be around experts because I had been so used to being the expert. And someone said, like for this first year, you're just really just learning, you're just absorbing. And so I used that. I sat there, I listened, I let people teach me. And I think that is a good strategy instead of faking it for sure. So
Follow-up question, how do leaders create environments that actually help people build confidence, especially as in this field, a male-dominated field? How does that play in, like the leadership at your companies? You spoke about it earlier. How does that play in to the employees and people feeling comfortable enough to have that confidence?
I think a big part of that is empathy, right? Being empathetic, making sure that you're touching base often, and providing the tools that are necessary for them to be confident, right? Like celebrating the wins, supporting the losses, and really just checking in and just making sure that you're doing your part to educate.
and a lot of people know a lot of things. So coming in and creating that opportunity for people to learn and for people to ask the questions and become comfortable to grow and learn is really impactful. And as leaders, I think that's what we need to do because with the 45-year people, the calendar doesn't stop moving. So the 45-year people eventually will retire. Not that we want them to because they're great assets to the industry, but you've got to be cultivating the younger generations in the flooring industry to perpetuate the industry because we need to give the opportunities to new, fresh people and allow them to grow.
So I started with this company, and when I started, it was me and 8 salesmen, men, like just all men. And don't get me wrong, listen, I love men. Okay. I'm perfectly fine being around men. I grew up with men. I work with men. So for me, it's a very comfortable place and I love it. But I've also I've never been accused of being like really ladylike. So I
Your
think
7 brothers. Yeah.
I fit in okay just for that reason. But I agree with you. This industry, and I'm sure some of you have experienced this. And if you have, like, I'm sorry, and let's talk afterward because I'm sure some of you listening or here have experienced the gender bias. It's just, it happens. It's natural. It happens in every industry. I would love to talk to you afterward about how to deal with that because honestly, this industry as a whole is just not like that, which is great. And so the other thing that I remind myself of all the time is that men are just as dramatic sometimes as women are. Like trust me, I know. It looks a little different, but I've seen it. So we're all on the same playing fields there when it comes to that.
I want to add to that because, I'm a guy, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just a little too dumb not to know the difference between being confident and just being courageous, right? I just don't know. So, and to turn off as a guy, I'm always being competitive. And if you were an athlete at some point, you probably understand about being competitive, whether it's a male or female. I don't discriminate. And the approach for me, and maybe you guys have witnessed this or been part of it, like you just said, how do you approach someone who just doesn't know that they should not be as confident as they are, like a dumb guy like me?
Toughie.
Don't be that confident. You're overdoing it right now. No, I'm kidding.
I just want to know, like, how do you deal with a situation like that?
Humor.
Yeah.
This is
Humor. Yeah.
this is a great question. This is kind of about mentoring, right? And how we can mentor either younger generations or just people we work with. I will say for me, this is how I feel. I feel that if I'm in a meeting or I'm doing a presentation or if I'm in a group of people and I've done something that is offensive or came off the wrong way or stuck my foot in my mouth and I don't realize it, I want immediate feedback. I hope that I am surrounded by people that I'm close enough to that would say to me, not in front of the group, like that's not productive, then that's not great, but pull me aside and say, hey, I know that you thought you were maybe just being confident, but it came across as a little arrogant or a little competitive. Um, I want that feedback and I want it kind of in real time as soon as possible. I do try to do that, whether it's, with my friends or coworkers, maybe we're on a joint call. I might afterwards say, hey, I noticed they seem to be getting a little impatient, but you were kind of going on, like next time look for that little cue, but try to give feedback in the moment, try to make it genuine. I'm not perfect. I don't know what qualifies me, but I would want somebody to give me feedback. And so I hope that others are open to it as well, as long as it's kind, like a compliment sandwich, right? Like you were great here, maybe a little work here, but here was great. So
And I think be that person, right? Have the confidence and be that person who's giving that feedback. I think that is extremely important because I think a lot of times we don't, right? It's like, oh, someone else will handle it, or I don't really want to, I don't want to do this today. But I think it's super, super important in leadership positions or just in general to be giving people that feedback so that they can grow.
And I think you can use humor in a situation like that, and with somebody that's a little over the top. You can use humor in that situation.
Calm it down.
Yeah, calm it down. Yeah.
Well, let's go to the interwebs and see do we have any questions or comments out there, Daniel?
Yeah, we have a question from Aurora Romo. I think she's trying to build her confidence up in her marketing and systems So she asks, can you please talk about marketing systems and processes for contractors?
Marketing systems and processes for contractors. That sounds like it's your.
Yes, I think your name badge says contractor.
Well, shoot. I guess I don't. Read the question one more time. I'm sorry.
Can you please
This
talk
one's-
about marketing systems and processes for contractors?
Marketing systems and processes for contractors.
Maybe the confidence in how to select the process and knowing which ones are best suited.
Yeah, almost like, I mean, like a small business owner myself, right? It's really hard sometimes because you're starting from zero. And if you start from zero and you're talking to someone that already has, been through it, it's easier for you to pull ideas from them. So, I mean, marketing is something that, I definitely don't have a strong suit on. So I have to look for other places. And I think one of the biggest things is like the systems and processes that people put in place, because essentially when you're starting from zero, you have no idea where to start from. So as long as you have just an idea, like what kind of processes do you put in place in your business, starting from your day even, how do you just go from getting there in the morning to
Well, one thing I think that this question seems to me that it's like most of the contractors, installation contractors, are guys. I mean, Baby Sister's a good example of a wonderful installer that's female, but most of them. So how do you lead them? I think that's more of where the question is attempting to go. It's essentially, if you're leadership as a woman, how are you leading a crew of men out there to go do your work? How do you market and take care of that from that perspective?
I think persistence is key. I think, you can't, this kind of goes back to the bias question a little bit. It is hard as a woman to lead men, you know what I mean, that are doing work for you. But I think persistence and support and feedback to them are all things that resonate, and I think they win over time. So I don't honestly spend a whole lot of time worrying about kind of the bias side of things, because I need to focus my energy on moving forward, right? It's very important to keep that in check. And I think if you behave that way and you continue to lead and you're always putting your best foot forward, then all of the rest of the problems have a tendency to start disappearing, right? So I think that's, if that answers your question.
So I was thinking a little bit, I'm not, when you're just getting started and you're just trying to figure your way through it, some of my best advice is just network. Get involved in your local area chamber of commerce, your home builders association, any groups that you can be in where you can meet people and you can ask questions and, hey, have you used this software? I have tried this doesn't work, this does. Don't be afraid, even if somebody is a competitor in your local market, it's still okay to kind of talk about best practices. They're a good company, they're going to be fine sharing information about maybe softwares or something like that. So get out there, get in your area, get in your network and ask questions and just go for it.
Yeah, from a marketing perspective, I mean, I think that's different regionally. It's so, we have very rural markets and then some bigger cities. So from marketing perspective, those are very different things. But I think building the relationships and networking is totally key, making sure that you're asking for referrals and reviews and things like that as well. But I think every market is a little bit different from a marketing perspective. And so there's not really a one size fits all answer to that. Just keep going.
I think listening, making sure when you're getting advice and networking that you also listen. and take it in. But there's also, we have a lot of resources available to us today with AI. And there are a lot of things you can find online and using AI. And so I would use that and use your resources, because there's a lot of things out there that make it a lot easier for us today than it used to be. So use the resources that are out there, especially around AI.
One of the things that came to mind, she did answer yes. So I think the question, that particular question, was marketing to find subcontractors that'll do your work essentially, and them mainly being male. I used to work at a company that had a female project manager, a commercial floor covering company. I was an installer at the time, and a lot of guys automatically were like, we're not listening to her. She broke the barriers down by communicating with them, by taking them lunch. She would go out on job sites and bring them lunch. None of the male PMs were doing. Sooner than later, she was their favorite project manager to do work for. So I think it was kind of around that zone is where the question was coming from. Sometimes hard to decipher from the interwebs, but
I think one of the things that's worked best for me with my team is putting knee pads on and getting down and dirty with them when we have to, especially if we're behind on a project or something like that, like just not being beyond doing the work with them, whether that's helping them or, you know, if you have the skill set, do it sometimes. So that, or, you know, jumping on the forklift in high heels and unloading a truck, like you can't be afraid to
you show them you're down to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's keep this conversation going, rounding out with, you know, the fake it till you make it. We're in a great industry. You guys have pointed that out. I think that that's true. The example I just gave, I think most of the crews in the world are, or in the US, and the ones that I've dealt with, and I've dealt with hundreds, are really open to anything. They just want to get the work done, have a happy customer, and have a happy boss. So as we start rounding out, exuding true confidence, we've almost answered this question. It's like you guys have said, being prepared, you know, being ready for your, like having that personal confidence. Is there anything else that comes out in particular, if you can think of a time when you may have been in a room or in a meeting or at a job site or trying to bid against somebody where you may have felt a little not as confident? How do you pop yourself back into reality?
I mean, that happens to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's always going to be a situation that you're in where you're not as prepared, or it was a question like this question you didn't know was coming to you. But you just need to power through and move forward and realize that this is your opportunity to make an impact on either your team or whoever you're presenting to. And you just really need to power through and continue being the confident person that you are. And you'll exude that confidence as long as you don't, and like we talked about before, saying you don't know is okay. Saying you don't know the answer to something is okay. And realizing if you make a mistake, it's an opportunity to own it, and adapt and pivot. And that is completely acceptable to do. And that makes you appear a lot more confident when you can step back and say that. But you really just need to realize that everybody's going to be in a situation at some point where you're not completely comfortable. And it's not going to be the last time. Not the first time or the last time. And you just need to work through it. And then you'll be proud of yourself afterwards and realize you'll learn from it and realize it's going to happen again. So be ready. Yeah.
So here's what I do. I stand there and I go like this. And then I wait and hope someone else answers the question, right? No. I think that, so there's a lot of situations where one thing we haven't really touched on today is we're talking about self-confidence, we're talking about inner confidence, but there's also just having confidence in other people. There's having confidence in the people that are around you. And one of the best things that we can do to help build others up in this industry is, give them a chance, have confidence in them, and not delegate, not like, hey, you do this, but giving people the chance at doing something themselves instead of telling them how to do it or doing it for them. And that's one of my favorite things is whenever we're in a group and maybe, someone asks a question, I will say back to them, well, how would you actually do that if you were in that situation? And let them talk about how they think they would work their way through it. I could stand up here and just talk and talk and talk. I'm sure I could come up with stuff. I'm a very chatty person. I'm on 3 coffees today. But that's not the best way to truly exude confidence. That's just annoying, right? Like no one wants to hear that. I should hand over the microphone now. Is that yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question could you share an opportunity on when, or an opportunity, I'm sorry, could you share a moment when you had an opportunity to exude confidence that where it benefited you and maybe had an outcome that you weren't prepared for?
Bill, maybe even when you had to build somebody up.
Yeah.
Because that's a great point you brought up that is totally missed in the whole dialogue is building others' confidence up. Being a leader will help you have the confidence as well. Don't feel like you have to answer. We got more.
I work with this woman who is incredible. She is organized, she is thorough, she is detailed, she is on point and amazing in every aspect of her work. However, early on, I noticed she would never take that first step herself. Even though I knew if she did it, she would be on the right track, she would be doing the right thing. But she always waited for someone to say, yes, go ahead and do it, or, move forward or whatever. And so I, with her, just took a risk and just kind of said, you know what, go ahead and do it how you think you should do it. Why don't you put that document together and send it to me? It was a risk because someone who is so used to not making decisions on their own, suddenly being thrust into the decision-making process could have paralyzed her. It could have made her very fearful. It could have made her say, oh my gosh, I'm not comfortable in this work. But I took a risk just knowing that her ability was amazing. And I have loved watching her grow and thrive into more of a leader and giving sort of direction and leading projects. I think it's okay to take a risk. It might make somebody uncomfortable. It might make me nervous because it would look bad for me if it didn't go well, but sometimes you just got to take that risk.
Yeah, and I think that's part of being a leader. And as you work your way up in an organization, at some point you're the one doing everything, and you start out and you're the doer and you're doing everything. And then as you're building teams and as you work your way up in the organization, you realize there's people that are working or that you're developing underneath of you. And part of the confidence in your leadership is letting people do and letting people grow and delegating to people and having the confidence to delegate, because it's not always easy when you're ultimately responsible for something, but you being confident in your team, but also in your ability to to delegate to other people and realize that as you move up in an organization, you can't do everything anymore. And you have to create that culture that allows people to spread their wings and grow and realize that there's not really much you can actually make a mistake that can't be corrected. Once you realize that most mistakes can be corrected, you can it's much easier to move forward and to delegate.
Yeah, most of those scenarios are not like end of the world scenarios.
Right.
And you just got to get past that immediate fear, it sounds like, is essentially what you're saying.
My early lawyer training, one thing that was told to me was the only thing you can screw up is the statute of limitations. Everything else can be undone. So,
great.
so I kind of have taken that on, as 25 years later here, because you can, there's a lot of things that can be undone. You can admit and own it and move on, but you've got to allow people, create the culture and the team to allow people to grow, and then that just actually builds confidence in everybody, in yourself and in everybody else.
Could not agree more. And I think that kind of starts to end the conversation around leveraging the confidence. So, we've taught you, what confidence is, real confidence, and how to use it. I think that we've kind of clarified that it's not faking it till you make it. It's a strategy. You guys talked about building on preparation, practice, clarity, these types of things, really knowing whatever situation you walk into that you're ready. That's real leadership as well. And I loved all the answers. So in leveraging your confidence, so at the end of the day, we all have goals or objectives on a daily basis, right? We got to-do lists. We got, if we're goal setters and we got 1 month or 1 year, 5-year goals, like, how do you have the confidence how are you putting this into action, like practical action on a day-to-day basis? And that actually goes to one of our comments online. What are some small actions or micro habits that you used early in your career to build confidence? So like it's like an arc of time. If you guys can kind of address that question, what did you do? What are these little things that specifically small actions or micro habits that you put into place early in your career? And then once you got the confidence, how did you start leveraging that to buy businesses, to expand distribution, those types of big deals that you guys work on day to day? So that is going to be our closing question.
So I think when you look at a goal, that's the ultimate outcome that you want. That's not how you're going to get there. And so you've got to build the systems and the micro habits to get yourself there. And so you can get to your goal. I, for me, putting yourself in the right spot, in the right room, in the right conversation, don't be afraid to walk into a room and to listen into a conversation or be in the conversation. I mean, changed my career from being the general counsel of the company to now the chief commercial officer, because I made sure that I was in the right room all the time. So I got myself in the right situations, in the right conversations. And sometimes I would just sit there and listen and absorb it all so that I could learn from what's going on in the business and the rest of the business. Because I really felt from early on I couldn't give the advice to the company if I didn't know what the company was doing and understand the business. So it's really being prepared and understanding. We talked a lot about that today. Doing your research, understanding the business that you're in, the knowledge. I think maybe you said knowledge is power, but really making sure that it's really being prepared and just doing a lot of the homework every day. Do your homework, learn more. And if you learn something every day, then you'll get there.
Yeah, I completely agree with 100% of that. It really is all being prepared, educating yourself, utilizing education that might be, gifted to you or available to you with whatever it is that you're doing. But also just remember, and always remember, that your failure doesn't have to define you, and it's a learning opportunity to just do better the next time, right? So it's going to be okay. And I think if you expect sometimes maybe that there might be failure or something might not go right, you can kind of own that space. And in that chaos and that emotional moment when something might not go right, you can take a step back and, kind of redirect that energy to, okay, what can I do to A, get out of this, and B, do better next time. So
I think at the end of the day, everything that we do, no matter if we're selling something, we're making something, we're marketing something. At the end of the day, what we have to remember is that relationships are one of the most important things that we have every single day. I mean, think about it. How many days do you go without interacting with a person, right? And for me, you talk about that micro tip or small thing that you can do to start building on your goals. Getting to know the people you're working with, the people you're working for, very small things like I've got a store in Nebraska. They bring their dog to work. And so I remember the dog's name and I bring dog treats and those small things that help you build relationships because people want to work with people they like. They want to work with people that they enjoy being around. And so building on those micro relationship details, remembering kids' names or activities, just asking about how people are doing first before you dive right into, hey, here's why I'm here and what I'm trying to accomplish. If you focus just on that, you'd be amazed at how much sometimes the business will just come, or the knowledge will just come because people want to be around you. They want to work with you. They want to train you or learn from you. So it's all about people.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, there's no magic wand. Say 10 verses to yourself in the mirror. It's hard work. It's
affirmations. I like myself. I like myself. That's it. Here you go.
that if that works, Maddie, you can just tell yourself in the mirror how much you love yourself, and apparently you turn out like these ladies. No, it's hard work. You got to build the relationships. You got to do your homework. You got to know the business. It took a lot of courage for each one of you to do it. You went from legal to, I mean, that takes confidence and courage. Same with you, buying businesses and starting companies and being in distributing your products all over. It's hard work. It's being present and knowing the dog's name, right? So I just wanted to kind of recap that piece of the conversation. That is going to do it for today's Power Hour Live. Thank you, everybody. Please give the ladies a hand of applause. It was excellent. I loved your guys' comments. So real quick, the huddle is going to pass this.
I want to take a picture.
All right.
This is amazing. I'm going to take a selfie with everyone in the audience right now.
Here goes a selfie.
Ready? Everyone smile. Say cheese. Nailed it. Love
All
it.
right.
Love it.
So the Huddle is the #1 podcast in flooring. We are live every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Central. We've shot, I think, 170 some episodes. We have a variety of topics. We have on guests, and we're honored to have hosted today's Power Hour Live for Wi-Fi. I'm going to turn it over, and we're going to close this thing out. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it. It was awesome.
Let's give another round of applause for our Huddle friends and our panelists. So big thank you so much for doing this with us. This was wonderful, great conversation. Really enjoyed it. Great tidbits. I hope you all took some notes. Couple things to wrap up. You have a card on your table. This tells you about some upcoming events. We have a breakfast at TISE. We'd love for you to join us. It will be at the Mohawk booth on the main floor on the 28th, which is Wednesday at 10 a.m. Come stop by. We're going to do some speed networking. They talked a lot about building your network to help build confidence. None of us know everything. You need friends around you. So that's a great opportunity to get to know more people in the industry. We'll be there. We'd love to see you there as well. Quick reminder on some of our deadlines. Again, mentoring. You want to talk about a great way to build confidence. It is such an awesome program. We've had more than 150 women in the flooring industry go through it. We'd love to have any and all join us. So February 13th, mark your calendar. We are looking for mentors and mentees. If you'd like to know more, you can see any of our Wi-Fi members. We have Sparkly, which I'm loving your sparkle shine there. Thank you. You can come see us. And we also want to invite you to the happy hour afterwards. Immediately following this event, it will be right out on the terrace. If you just go out through the outside doors, we'll be talking about the mentor programs around the industry, which includes Wi-Fi, but also other mentor programs. So take this card with you. It's got lots of our events coming up as we all travel around. Last, I'm going to ask everybody, there's a little baby QR code. We'd love you to be a friend of Wi-Fi. So all the money that we collect, things that we do, lets us do more programming. All of these people do this for free. I do this for free. I have another full-time. But we are so lucky to have this organization in our industry, and we'd love for you to support more of it. All of your donations today go directly to our scholarship program. So I'd love to ask you if you'll scan and do a $5. It's cheaper than the Mandalay Bay Starbucks cup of coffee that I bought this morning that I was like, I'm sorry, how much is this? So that's our ask today. If you enjoyed the program, we'd love a $5 donation. You just scan the QR code on this tab, and it's quick and easy. But again, just thank you. Oh, very important. There are free drinks at the patio event following this, sponsored by our TISE friends. So thank you to TISE, who helps us with all these programmings. And if you have questions about our program or the mentor program, scholarship program, we're doing a leadership seal program later. Please come find one of us. We'd love to talk more about that. And again, thank you. Thanks for coming.